my name is Adam and welcome back to my channel where I make a tabletop role-playing game from scratch on camera. In this episode, we will finish what we started in the last episode, namely the Crystal Workshop. Before we start today's episode, I just want to remind you of the 96 likes. Before I started this project with Explorers RPG, I've been using this book to just note down different stuff that is role-playing related. And I think this will be fun and interesting for world builders, role players, and well, anyone. So 96 likes and I will make a video where I go through the 96 pages that I have here. And while you're down there, please press the subscribe button, but let's go on to the video. So last episode we started on the Crystal Workshop and we didn't get very far. The Crystal Workshop is a workshop which lets the players be able to modify and create new arch keys by taking these crystals and cutting them into different shapes. I made a small sample of types of shapes here, but I have no idea what all of them do yet, or even if they are all of them. You see, the workshop won't just make arch keys. In fact, anything within Portal technology, including the portal dials that are used in the entrance, will be possible for the players to modify and repair here. And whenever I invent a new way of interacting with portals, I'll add it to the list of things you can make at the workshop. Maybe they can create a portal wand or a dimensional sword or something that can do portal stuff. I don't have any ideas on this yet. I'm just throwing words around, so leave a comment down below if you come up with something interesting. So basically, this workshop gets these imported magical crystals and shapes them into different gemstones. These gemstones are then used to channel portal energies to access the Barsuk. Now, let's figure out what this workshop looks like. I'm basing the design of this workshop on my limited knowledge about jewelers. As far as I know, crystals are often full of sand and other impurities, and it's the jeweler's job to grind away all the impurities and try to shape the remaining crystal into a profitable gemstone. They first use a rough wheel to file away the biggest impurities, then use finer and finer files to shape the gem. Finally, very fine hand files are used to make the angular cuts that you see in jewelry. This is also something similar that I'm making here. My philosophy for this project is to first make everything realistic based on 13th century technology or somewhere thereabouts, then modify everything based on what magic is available, and then finally ruin everything so that the players have content to explore. With this in mind, I'm making a jeweler's workshop. This is going to be the most advanced portal gemstone jeweler. This means workbenches, hand tools, and some kind of water-driven grindstone. The water will come from the canal which goes through the castle. It will also feature a small blacksmith station to forge the frames and prongs for the gemstones to make them into keys. What I'm drawing now is the fully functional workshop. What it looked like when it was operational back in the day, and what it will look like when the players have fully restored it. When the players first encounter it, it will just be a dilapidated pile of rubble that won't be useful for anything. Now you've seen me go on and on about this workshop for 1.5 episodes, and you're probably asking your monitor, where the fuck are you going with this? Well, let me explain. The players will explore this castle, and at some point they will notice this dilapidated building and investigate. They will figure out that this used to be a workshop where they produced and repaired archkeys and other portal making devices. After a while, the players will start to accumulate archkeys. Some archkeys only work in specific locations, some work many places but have a limited amount of charges. They'll encounter arches where there's no keys and portal dials similar to the ones at the entrance but that can't be easily fixed. Sooner or later, they'll realize that they don't have all the pieces of the puzzle. At that point, they will start to build up the workshop and discover that not only can they search for more keys, they can forge their own custom ones. They will then spend time and resources to restore the workshop to make it functional, which in turn will reward them with more advanced portal technology, which they can use to explore more. So this is what the workshop looks like. There's the workstation here. Here there are files, hammers, and all other things to finally process these gemstones. Over here we have the water-powered grindstones. What I've designed here is some sort of valve system. Part of the canal is running through the barsack, and you can open and close portals to start and stop the grindstones. Over here we have a storage room, which is the barsack, so it's actually more of a vault than a storage room. Over here is the assembly station, where you can also do some quality checking and maybe also some recharging thing. Lastly, we have the blacksmithing station over here. So let's talk about the rules for this workshop. I've said previously that the workshop will have an attribute die. The way the core mechanic works is that a character has an attribute die and a skill die that they roll against a difficulty. If the results of one die is equal to or higher than the difficulty, it's a success. If both are equal to or higher, it's a critical success. You can read all about the core rules in my vertical slice edition, link in the description. Now I'm changing stuff up here. Instead of using the character's attribute die, the workshop itself has one. And that is depending on the state of this workshop. And when you pair it with the skill die of a character's crafting skill, the player chooses what they want to modify or make. And depending on their choice, there's a difficulty and amount of successes they need to reach. For every day spent in the workshop, the character can make an attribute roll using the workshop's die and the crafting die and try to progress in making whatever they want to make. One last thing I want to add to this: upgrading the workshop. As I said, the workshop is in ruins and the players can spend time rebuilding it. And that happens in stages. Stage 1 is just general cleanup. It's removing the rubble and organizing the tools and materials and so on. This will give you a D4 in the workshop's die. Next, there's 4 other upgrades that you can choose from. The water-powered grinder, the blacksmith area, the storage room, or the recharging station / quality testing area. Each of these increases the workshop die by 1. So 1 upgrade becomes a D6, 2 upgrades a D8, and up to D12 when the workshop is fully restored. In the current draft, each upgrade, including the cleanup, requires 3 days to complete. And each of the upgrades unlocks a certain option the players can choose when it comes to what they can do with the gems. for instance, restoring the blacksmith area will make the players able to repair metal frames and the dials. And I guess that's another area done. I mean, I still need some extra flavorful content, but I'm collecting all of the flavorful stuff into one large episode, which is not next episode, because next episode is the broken lighthouse. We're getting close to a grand reveal. Well, grand is probably a stretch, but I have a plan with the dungeon, the workshop, and the lighthouse. So if you like this, press the like button, comment down below, and of course subscribe, because, well, then you can get an update on whatever I'm doing and this grand plan of mine. See you later. And try to advance